Hello, good morning. I am Nia from the US Post. If you are new here, please subscribe our channel and support us. Let us start the headlines today.
But ever since Trump launched his political career, there have been calls to cut out the scene. One petition from 2020 even suggested replacing Trump with Biden. But now the film's director, will he be able to say his lines? I don't know. The director, Chris Columbus, is weighing in. He claims Trump demanded the cameo in order to use the Plaza Hotel. And if he could, Columbus said he would axe the scene altogether. Quote, years later, it's become this curse. It's become this thing that I wish it was not there. He said, I begged him to be in the movie, but there's no world I would ever beg a non-actor to be in a movie. But we're desperate to get the Plaza. We were desperate to get the Plaza Hotel. But it's there. It's become an albatross for me. I just wish it was gone. I can't cut it. If I cut it, it'll probably be sent. Probably be sent out of the country. I'll be considered sort of not fit to live in the United States. So I'll have to go back to Italy or something. All right, Joe Concha, is this guy in kindergarten? Like, what is going on? Like, this is so trivial.
Let's send Columbus back to Italy. I don't mean the guy that discovered the country.
Yeah.
And his name is Chris.
Yeah, his name's Chris, exactly. You watch the scene with Trump, it takes exactly 7 seconds. And we heard that we have to cut it for time considerations. 7 seconds? And then they say, well, maybe we should put Biden in the scene. A, what would Biden be doing there? And B, Kevin McAllister, Macaulay Culkin in that scene, asked where the lobby is. You think Joe Biden's going to know where the lobby is?
Exactly.
It makes no sense here whatsoever. We've gone mad.
Yeah.
Lara, what do you think? I mean, like, it's just ridiculous, but he's right. I mean, the movie is about New York. Donald Trump equals New York. Yeah. Like, what?
There's no more iconic New York figure in the history of New York, I would argue, maybe save for the Statue of Liberty, than Donald J. Trump. And so this was such a great scene. It is an iconic scene. The funny thing is people were so triggered online. I read some comments, as I like to do. People were saying, one of these comments, he actually gave Kevin bad directions. He said down the hall to the right, and Kevin went down the hall to the left, or whichever one it was. If you are upset about the 7-second cameo from Donald Trump in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, you need some serious psychiatric help.
So, Sandra, what year was that? I mean, this is so long ago. Why are we still talking about
92,
this?
I
92?
It's an iconic moment. And President Trump,
said.
at the time, owned the Plaza Hotel, to be clear.
Yeah.
So the director's saying, well, we paid the fee, so we should have been able to do what we wanted. And he pushed his way in. Well, regardless, did you go on to hear what he said? He said, well, then we aired the screening of the movie, and when Donald Trump appeared on the screen, the audience cheered. So he said, I'll leave it in. So apparently he kept it in because it was a win for the movie.
Well, exactly. And that's such a great moment you brought up because that's the point. It's these elites that are like, their heads are exploding, but regular people love that he was on the movie.
Yeah, let's say to this director, get a life. Find something else to worry about. This is not that big of a deal, and it's not serious. And I loved seeing Donald Trump in it. This is one of our favorite movies. My daughter loves this movie. I still crack up when I see it. And I also cracked up when I read that Donald Trump said, you can use my hotel as long as I'm in the movie. So I say, give Joe Biden the Grinch. We'll keep Donald Trump. And what's next for the Democrats? Do they want to erase Ronald Reagan out of his 53 movies?
Oh, if they could, they would. Yeah, I love that he did that too because he's ever the marketer. It wasn't about Donald Trump. He wanted to promote the Plaza.
Smart.
Tim Walsh.
I know. And he's using that marketing to market our country right now and do trade deals for us. It's fantastic.
Incredible.
I think it's just common sense. You know, what does everyday New Yorkers want? And, you know, I use the terminology all the time. People say, well, you know, you left the Democratic Party. You know, the party left me. I want to talk about what working class people believe, what they're feeling, and they're afraid. And we can't continue to be so philosophical and intellectual that we're talking over the heads of people who are afraid. Am I going to be able to provide for my children? Can I keep my home? Can I be employed? That's what we need to be looking at. And so I'll take the heat.
A social media post in February calling out a biological male who won a women's pole vaulting competition, leading to this Maine representative, Laura Libby, being censored. And now a Biden-appointed judge has ruled against her effort to have that censure overturned. But she isn't giving up. State lawmaker Laura Libby joins us now. You must be so disappointed. First of all, welcome and happy Easter. And you must be terribly disappointed by this ruling. You say you're going to keep going. What does that look like?
It certainly is disappointing, Rachel, and I had hoped for the best, but I'm also not terribly surprised. And we will continue fighting. We will appeal this ruling. But it's tremendously disappointing for my 9,000 constituents who are disenfranchised by my inability to speak or vote on the House floor. And that's really the most disappointing piece of this, because I certainly want to be able to represent them well. And at the moment, I can't speak on their behalf.
So explain, I mean, I've been hearing this story for a while. I'm still confused. So you said the truth in a social media post that a boy was a boy and was competing in a girls' sport, pole vaulting, and now you can't represent your own constituents because they said you're not allowed to speak?
Correct. The Democrat majority in the Maine House of Representatives voted, it was a very partisan vote, 75-70 to censure me. And as a consequence of that censure, I am not allowed to vote or speak on the floor until I apologize. Now, of course, Rachel, I'm not going to apologize for speaking the truth. And so until I have recourse from the courts, I will be unable to speak or vote for the rest of my term, which lasts until 2027.
So what do your constituents think, and what do the general Maine population think? I really feel like your governor, who, by the way, is, she is digging her heels in, Mills, where do the people stand? Is she out of step, or are you out of step in terms of the people of your state?
For sure. Governor Mills and legislative Democrats are completely out of step. 2/3 of Mainers don't want to see biological males in girls' sports. They're completely out of touch with my fellow Mainers, who I've had such an outpouring of support from. Folks within my district and outside of the district just encouraging me to continue fighting, continue speaking up, because the bigger picture here is that Maine people don't support this woke agenda. And they're so pleased to see someone fighting for them. Of course, Republicans in Maine have been, but sometimes they can't see that perhaps as visibly. And so they're pleased to see someone standing up and fighting against this woke agenda. And they just say, continue.
Yeah, well, you've been standing up for girls, for our daughters, in a really powerful way. It's a powerful message. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the fight. Keep fighting. And I think you're right. The people are on your side. Happy Easter.
You as well.
Joining us now is Georgia Congressman Buddy Carter. Congressman Carter, if you heard, some of that, the discussion there, the argument is that continuing the Trump tax cuts benefits the rich, especially billionaires. What do you think about that? How do you answer that charge?
Nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, this is just the Democratic playbook. Those trying to convince Americans that if we're doing this, we're doing it for billionaires. Quite the opposite. This is going to save almost 80% of all Americans from some suffering through the highest tax increase that they've ever seen, a 22% tax increase. You know, the Biden-Harris administration got us into the economic ditch, and President Trump, if he can get these tax cuts extended and made permanent, we can get back to the prosperity that we enjoyed during his first term.
Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana is not a big fan of, the idea that you raise taxes on certain groups to pay for the rest of the tax cut. Listen.
There is some discussion, some rhetoric, as we put together a reconciliation bill about raising taxes on certain folks, primarily the so-called rich. I'm not a big believer in envy taxes. I don't believe in making tax policy on the basis of class warfare. I hope we don't do that.
It sounds like, Congressman, that you would agree with what Senator Kennedy has to say.
Absolutely, I agree. Look, we can do this without raising taxes on anyone. Everybody wants to say, and the Democrats want to say, and get out of their playbook and say, oh, this is just a tax break for the billionaires. We need to tax them more. Nothing can be further from the truth. They're already paying more than their fair share. What we can do here is to save the average taxpayer, the middle-class taxpayer, from suffering through a 22% increase. If we can make these permanent, if we can extend these tax cuts, we can get this economy out of the ditch that Biden and Harris got us into. and we can return back to the prosperity that the first Trump administration gave us.
Well, as you well know, we are running $1 trillion deficit in this country. China pays for a lot of that by buying up that debt. How do you avoid continuing these deficits if we don't have some source of revenue?
Well, we need revenue. We don't necessarily have a revenue problem in Washington, D.C. We've got a spending problem. That's why the product that was produced by the Budget Committee that I serve on was such a good product, because we're calling for $1.5 trillion in savings over the next 10 years, plus a growth rate of 2.8%, which is going to save us about $2.6 trillion over the next 10 years. If we can combine those two things, then we can cut down on our deficit spending. Yes, we still have a ways to go, but at the same time, we're making progress here.
You were criticizing the Biden administration over its handling of the budget. President Trump is also critical over the way they handled Iran and Hamas. Listen.
I'm for stopping Iran, very simply, from having a nuclear weapon. They can't have a nuclear weapon. I want Iran to be great and prosperous and terrific. I stopped them once they were broke and they didn't have any money for Hamas. They didn't have any money for Hezbollah. There wouldn't have been an October 7th disaster. They were broke. They had no money, and they weren't spending it to terrorist organizations because they had none.
Is he right?
He is right, and he is approaching this in the right way, and that is from a position of strength. You know, it will be in Iran's best interest if they deal with President Trump. President Trump is offering them an opportunity here that they need to seize upon, because he is negotiating from a position of strength, very Reagan-esque, and it reminds me of Reagan in the Cold War. And this is something that the Biden-Harris administration did not do, and that's why we got in so much trouble in Iran. And that's why this president, who is negotiating from this position of strength, that's why he's going to be able to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon in the future.
Congressman Buddy Carter, Republican of Georgia. Congressman, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching our video. If you are new to our channel and have not subscribed it, please subscribe to our channel and support us. Do not forget to press bell icon for all the new videos notifications. Share your comments in the comment box. See you in the next video.